Tommy can see.
So see how it.
You can see yourself.
Yeah, you can see yourself. Yeah.
That's called monkey vision.
You know that. You've seen it.
Are you enjoying this family of ours?
Hi.
Hello.
I thought you had interest. You have digital.
It's digital.
We're the most boring family.
You're not taking a picture, I just took a
Yes,
photo.
you should. Take a picture.
What you should do is you could pass it around the table. There you go.
Completely dysfunctional.
Where's your script? Where you
Oh, let's see here. There's a zoom up there, I think.
Okay, where do you push to take the picture?
It's going right now. We're taking video.
Yes. But he's working on his movie
We're
star.
documenting this
Microphone right here.
historic occasion.
What's brother doing?
Ah, don't take my picture.
Stop it.
You look pretty good.
Stop it right now.
I don't know if it's
Take this one.
You have to talk to Eric, you didn't meet him at Christmas. He's
Somebody
a helicopter pilot.
That's what I hear.
his
That's
brother.
very cool.
About
There's
your,
Joe Lane.
Oh yeah.
There's Al.
it was the same.
Yeah.
That was a Hughes C300 or
How
something.
you doing all?
Yeah. Little bubble with the two-seater.
I just want to say that it's been an interesting experience having a dad like Bill.
It's been a beautiful experience.
I agree with you.
Actually, all of my parents are more like friends because they were just babies when we were all little. And the thing I remember the most is when Howard, am I interrupting your talking?
As usual.
Okay, forget
No.
You know, Howard,
Because it lights up.
something's doing something.
Well, it's true.
Come on, Mom. Continue. You're on a good roll.
What I was going to talk about was the trouble that I used to get into as a child
Go ahead.
with my brother. Yes.
Yes. Let us know about that.
I'll never forget the time that Terry and I took the Volkswagen, the first Volkswagen back into the United States, and we went driving through the hills, up and down, and we landed, we came down, we were in dirt fields, and we landed right, came down a mountain, and there was a big pond in front of us. Boom! We went right into the pond, and then we got out, went through the roof, pushed it out,
How did you
took it
do that?
home. It's all full of water and mud. Bill never got really mad at us. We got the little blue one.
Who was driving?
That was about.
Oh, well, obviously, it could have been Jerry.
Terry was driving, and we were so worried about going home because this poor little car was probably filled up full of water and mud, and he didn't really ever get mad at us.
Oh, yes, sir.
And then another time, I can remember being up on the Umpqua River, and we were racing. I think Terry had one boat, and I was in another. We're going down the river, and we collided, and the boats went up in the air, and the motor fell off of his boat.
Went in the bottom.
And went in the bottom, and we had towed the other boat in, and he said, my sister ran into me. If the truth were known, he ran into me. And Bill walked up to those boats, and he kicked them, and he said, God damn, I'm never going to let your kids drive these boats again. And the next day, we're all sitting around, and we didn't have anything to do, and he goes, well, how come you're not taking the boats out? Short memory. Doesn't have a motor.
It was only about 6 feet deep, but I think Stan and I got the motor out.
And then
You did?
another time that he really never got mad at us, and he really should have gotten mad, is one night Judy and I were out driving around town, and we had his Jolene and Bill's station wagon,
Brand new.
and some guys started following us, and I said, I'll ditch them real quick. I knew every alley and every side street, and I was racing around like 16 years old, and I went around a corner by, I don't know what street we were on.
That's, Pacific Coast Highway and the Angling Road up there.
That's right.
Walnut.
No.
It was
It was
Rolling
an
Hills Road.
So I did a sharp turn and I hit the curb blew, I don't know how many
Two tires.
tires.
Woo!
And
Two
I
tires.
said, oh, hang on, we ditched the guy, we lost the guys that
I'm
were
sure you
following.
did.
And I called Bill. I said, and you come and get us. I said, bring a couple of tires. But I was only going 25 miles.
Oh, yes, right.
Only
And
2
I called
tires.
Chubby, 11 o'clock, remember Chubby,
Yeah.
Ryder? 11 o'clock at night.
Chubby Ridner.
Yes.
And we went and deterred 2 new tires on the car.
At
So
11
actually, I
And
think
that
I'm
was-
very lucky to
forgot
have a
How could
dad
you
like,
blow tires going
But
20
she
miles?
a
forgot to
dad
tell
like
you.
Bill.
They were
Forgot to tell you
Firestones.
one thing,
Oh, the lobsters.
that was the first night she had ever taken a car.
Oh.
That was her first night out.
Gave you an idea
How
of
old
what
were
was
you
to
then?
happen in the future, didn't
Jolene
it?
and I couldn't sleep waiting for her.
16?
Hope we get a call at 11.
I mean, I did things that I never wanted my kids to do, but
Well, and we know that our children never did those
Bill might
things.
tell you about the time, tell him about the lobsters.
That's a beautiful quote.
No, the crabs
Crabs.
and some lobster, I can tell that. She took our boat brother, her and Judy, did school, and went out to Ishabashi's farm, where they had the lobster traps and the crab traps. And they brought that little 18-foot boat full of lobsters.
Oh,
And I said,
Crabs.
you could be shot for this. They robbed traps clear around
We pulled
Howard.
them
This
up
was
and
on the
dumped
other
the
side
crabs
of.
in our boat. Well, that's only practical, you
That's like solid
Well, you know where Portuguese
You had
men
enough
live.
for a
Yeah,
whole
they
market.
were west of Portuguese men where Ishibashi kept traps.
Oh, yeah.
And they emptied the traps in my boat, our boat. And Jesus, I kept, what the hell are we gonna do with 500 crab? And,
she
that,
probably said
the
we had.
next day, Jolene had to go to the high school and get her reinstated. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but that was poor Joe. Joe always had to
Oh,
get.
that was for
That was for something else.
That was for her driving. No, it
What'd you do with all the
No, I
lobsters
was
and
for
crabs?
Oh, for
school.
ditching school, that's
See,
right.
these are things that I never heard before.
Oh,
Howard,
yeah.
I've never told you because you'd leave the family.
You're right, I would.
No, I was off water skiing with my mother and Mike. There you go.
I never got
And
that.
it was so hot, and poor Joe,
Adi.
Mom had to go to work, and the
So
school called,
when
and
you
they
last
said,
time-
I answered the phone and they said, is this Jerry? And I said, no, and they said, well, tell Jerry she's been expelled from school.
So they
And I
went to the high school and got her
said,
reinstated twice.
oh, okay, and I said, Joe,
I'll give her the
you better
message.
get me back in school.
And by the way, how is Judy?
She's fine. You heard from her? I hear from her, we write to each other.
What happened to Winnie?
Winnie's up there living by Judy.
The poo?
Good.
Punch and Judy and.
And Jack and Jill.
So
and
anyway,
Jack and
I-
Jill.
Judy?
And down goes that martini.
Judy was a beauty.
Really?
Judy was a beauty.
Really?
Judy was a beauty.
And then
I met one cabeza, but she was a beauty.
That's the way it should
And
be.
then there was the time that Terry
I
went
think.
water skiing with your brand new Coral and Grace and Chevy. And we
Chevy, as in Chevy, Chevrolet.
Your mother doesn't have any more.
Remember that brand new Chevy we had? Maybe like Debbie and boy, we were on, we had the boat, we went down to the grill and we went water skiing. We left the boat and the car.
Oh, it's amazing.
Constantly, Jesus Christ, we was gonna push the car down the road.
They were, tell Carrie. What, you stealing
Brother,
the
tell
car?
that story, that was, no, anytime somebody parked the car, we'd push it down the road so they couldn't find it.
Bill and I,
The mafia came to look at that after meeting these two guys, they
They
left.
left.
we all went out, I was about 7 or 8, and Bill was about
I
12,
was about 13, and you
and
were about 9.
Buster was about 14.
Yeah.
So out we went, and we went to push his car down the street. And in the car was, the guys had his guns.
Getaway driver.
And so, in this house, the people's name was Huffine. And they were all playing cards. And in came these guys, they was bootleggers, they got mixed up with the people down the street or
It
something.
was the next street over.
Yeah, next street over, all the houses looked alike. And so, this guy came in, broke in the house, and this guy playing cards, he had a drawer right there, and he had his gun, he just pulled it out, and
Shot two of them.
they shot him and the others, and there was
Who
blood.
drove through the window? Hot
Old man Huffine.
And our dad was sitting there.
And so then, brother and I go home, and Buster, he's crawled under a car,
He froze.
and we went in, I was crying, and my mom jumped on Bill and says, "What are you doing, teasing him again?"
Of course it was your fault.
Oh,
Always.
No, my mother always took him for a brother, don't let anybody kid you.
she never whipped me or nothing either. Did she, brother?
She whipped you.
Well, Bill Skipper and I used to
So
go
how
to the
many
pool
people
and
died?
they'd count the welts on his back and my back.
Tell me about the time when your mom gave you medicine and they gave it to Dennis.
Oh, when Bill was about, we lived over in Lawndale, in this little house, and so Bill comes in and somehow the milk bottles, we had milk bottles, and Bill
I was delivering them.
cut his foot on the milk bottles. And so my mom takes him in and tried to bandage his foot all up, and there's iodine there. Brother grabs the iodine and throws it down. So my mother grabbed Bill and held him up by his feet trying to get the iodine.
Well, you gotta remember this, that was the bottom of it. These kids don't know what a milk bottle is, but the bottom of it was there, broke, and I stepped on it.
That's awful.
And,
the worst.
And my mom was good at sewing things up. But
Oh,
she sewed our dog up, put all his guts back in, sewed my foot up, and, you know,
I think
you
she,
just,
I heard my brother, she
and I still got tremendous scars.
Oh, yeah, he's got big spoiled.
I think your daughter is
Bill had
sort of a
appendicitis.
chick off the old block.
Yes.
Didn't know what the heck to do. Took him to the doctor, and the doctor says,
Oh, I know.
"You got
Poor
peritonitis."
ladylike.
So I said,
So she took him home and put him in the bathtub and cooked him.
what happened over there? Take it away.
Bill had appendicitis
Yeah.
and it broke. He got peritonitis. And so my mother took him to the doctor, and the doctor says, "We can't do anything, it's too late." So he took him home, put him in the bathtub, and cooked him. And
Obviously worked.
Put it in hot powder.
But he can
And so
still
when
see his
he-
eyes aren't at half mast.
then later on in his life, how old were you when you had your appendix taken out?
Right?
He had these screwy goddamn appendix, and it had this burst in it. And the doctor says, "What the heck? What happened there? You got this broken appendix."
We used to have it on the mammal.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Did you really?
Whatever happened to that?
I mean, I bet the doctor couldn't believe that somebody had a ruptured appendix.
I miss you guys.
Whatever happened to
The appendix.
appendix?
I saved them, I took Evelyn.
Hey, all right.
Oh, I'm those old appendix.
Now, awful.
A lot more.
And
I have never heard a lot of these stories, and it explains a lot more. I'm gonna sleep tonight probably for the first time.
What brother's trying to say is, we have an interesting life.
Yeah, you did, yeah. that's it.
Tell TR about time you guys used to sip the wine down in the
Oh,
basement.
shit,
But
everybody
you were
in the
cook-
neighborhood was
you-
drunk.
you
But
were
you
actually-
never knew that.
Interested.
TR never.
During Prohibition, right?
Well, you didn't finish
Our
the
dad
story
was
about
a
cooking
bootlegger.
in the bathtub.
Well, they cooked him.
Oh, he was?
Poison
Took
out
the poison out of it.
But they boiled the bathtub?
Boiled him.
Grandpa
I mean,
oughta-
completely boiled or?
Well, boiled him
I
enough to
just-
cook him, I don't know.
I don't go
I don't know, I
beyond
wouldn't.
Oregon and,
You did.
That's why I'm
You
not.
No wonder you're not cold there.
But you used
No,
to
but I
drink-
just explained it, I'm gonna be a lot nicer from now on.
We had some of the greatest experience. Our dad was a bootlegger. We had a cellar with wine and
Lots of
500
straws.
gallons.
Lots
And
of
he used
straws.
And he used to make 180 proof liquor.
like
Moonshine.
180.
Yeah.
180
The first
proof
time you
brandy.
ever admitted
And
it.
before they cut it,
But it was redone, you did, redone it, see, the first time
I'm
it comes out
telling you,
about
the first time.
60 proof, and you redo it, and then do it in 180.
purify it.
Then you put it in a small bottle, And then when you wanna sell it, you
Cut
take,
it
You mix it
distilled water.
with the
and cut it,
hydrometer.
Yeah, with the hydrometer, and bring it up to 80 proof. And, stunk, oh my
Yeah,
God.
tell them about the cherries and the prunes that he soaked in there for a year or 2 years, and we used to sneak them.
My mom used to do
Oh
that.
my God.
180
There's
proof.
nothing
How
wrong with
did
me,
you
I
get-
just had
We
prunes.
had every kid in the neighborhood crocked.
One cherry and
We
you're.
used to eat one of those
Yeah.
prunes soaked in 180 for a year.
180 proof,
You're drunk for days.
And the kids used to come, and I'd take them down the cellar, and they'd take a straw out of the field and let them suck as
Out of
much
the
as they
field,
wanted.
that was
That was the, literally
And then
classic.
at midnight, we'd get up and haul the pummies to the slough.
Pummies are old, grape stems and stuff,
After
always pressed.
Fermented.
Smell like terrible, all the flies and stuff.
And the hobos would come, and they knew how
So you're
to-
making wine too? or-
Well, you made the wine
Squeeze it
first.
into
I wanna
it
hear
stuff.
the story.
And then the wine
This is
just
true story
distilled it,
stuff.
Okay.
and that makes brandy.
Oh.
So you distill the
We
wine,
got
Distilled
$30
brandy a
a
couple
gallon
times.
for
and
brandy.
you just distill it
A
again,
gallon?
and
My
it
dad
brings it
paid
up to a
35 a
certain.
month on his
So
gallon.
180 is as good as you can go.
It's 200 is,
I wanna hear the
Today it'll be
story.
500.
Torpedo juice,
yeah.
that's 180.
Well, I mean, but for a gallon.
Torpedo juice is
Well, I
potent.
mean,
Well, vodka's 80
I
proof.
think it-
I wanna hear the story where you guys went down
Yeah.
and were pumping gasoline out of the reserve.
No, we didn't pump it.
Well, I mean, you,
We went to Terminal Island, and everybody had a hole that you drilled like 30 feet,
Post hole there.
post hole digger.
okay.
And then everybody had a lid and a tumbleweed over it, and you'd go down, and you had a stick with a can on it, and you'd bring up gas.
How
And, but it was all leaking from the refinery.
Oh, no
It all
kidding.
the way
Of
was.
course it was.
But you think of
So this is
Terminal Island
seepage from the-
today,
It wasn't, it was down
It wasn't
Right
your
on.
gas.
Terminal
was
Island.
it?
well, it was nobody's. It
Oh,
was.
No, it was just over the tumbleweed had
So you-
hidden the hole and you
And
just
then we-
found the
No,
hole.
no,
No, no,
say it
no,
like it is.
We'd always go
Stealing
to foggy
gas.
day.
no, that's not stealing gas,
Oh.
because
Okay,
there must have been 100 people from Lomita had their own.
and they were all stealing gas.
No, it's no
They're on
gas.
tumbleweeds.
No, it's gas that leaks out of
Oh,
pipes.
okay.
Seepage.
Sometimes you
So it's
can
in the
call
ground and you dig a hole down
Brother,
about
tell
30
them
feet?
about how many times I had to
Yeah,
drain your
now you know where
carburetor.
I
one.
found
Yeah, you
it.
can salt
called
water.
ingenuity.
Total,
gas.
yeah.
So you could have your own
Yeah.
tumbleweed with
everybody had
leaking
one.
gas.
Well, we covered the hole.
Yeah.
Of course you
You had to
would.
know where your tumbleweed was.
Yeah, and it was always go on a foggy night, you know.
And then brother,
I thought it was legal.
Well, it was legal for them.
hey, let me tell you the other.
I mean, how many times did you go down a one-way street
On
twice?
Lomita
You gotta
Boulevard,
go on a- you gotta go on a foggy night.
during the
Good.
the Depression, and no liquor sold, there was a place that they sold, that would dance, what was the name of that, something Gardens? Pogey's
Beside your
Foggy, it was
basement.
foggy ranch there.
Yeah, I was on Pogey's Ranch, and everybody stashed their bottle out in this parking lot. And we'd walk along and throw rocks. And we'd go pig.
Got one! It's like fishing for bottles.
Everybody got a bottle in because they were always raising
Right,
the
right,
They
yeah.
were
Dick
the
and I'd
worst
go,
two boys in the
pretty
whole.
soon you'd hear pig.
But
and
pretty
then
damn
you'd get
smart,
the
if I
bottle.
may say so.
Sometimes you get a little gallon.
They were enterprising young men.
Classic.
Many nights, we were out there getting,
I remember when you
my
used to
brother
get
was
those
there the
big
night
bottles
that
underneath the-
Johnny Angelis got raided by the guy up the street,
Judge Hunter.
Judge Hunter.
I lived there.
He was drinking with them all the
7
time,
years
then
in
he'd
there.
raid them.
Yeah.
They opened
Later.
all these
Oh,
spigots
much
on
better,
these
yeah.
big vats
In the
of
70s.
wine.
Oh my
Why
God.
would you rate them?
Well, because they had to, once in a while.
Oh, once in a
A
while.
show
Yeah.
raid.
Okay.
72, we moved
They
there.
had-
Johnny and I crawled through a hole and down into the cellar, turned all the spigots off after they got through. There was wine about that deep on the floor.
They had a,
Gee,
they
must
had
have
a
smelled.
hidden,
You
barrel.
remember
Yeah.
the Hottentot
It was-
cafe?
The barrel was just about like the size of this.
How big is this table?
Yeah, well,
How long has that
at least
been there?
big as this table. And they had these grinders, they'd throw all this wine, they made a lot of wine. Then they had a distilled it too. They had a, what do you call it?
Distillery.
What do you call it? Still?
No,
Still.
Yeah, still, yeah.
We
Yeah,
got
they had
one
a
to do.
distill, and they had theirs hidden in a hedge. That hedge that was along the road
That's
there, that's
right.
where they had their still hid. And we had ours right in the cellar, and then my mom had signals. When anybody came, she'd pound on the floor,
We couldn't see, this is the.
Oh, this
and
is
Dad would come out,
Did you know?
and he had his
Remember
Think he's all
Remember when the preacher came, brother, and Dad was up and that stuff, he came out, we're from East Finney Tobacco Juice, said, Jesus Christ. The preacher came, everybody knew my dad was a bootlegger, our dad was a bootlegger.
worst thing, we had these parties. And finally, everybody was getting stoned there, and so he knocked it off.
Yeah.
Because they were having these wild parties, because that's where they could get this
You're right.
alcohol.
I bet it was good.
But you know what, kids today don't know what it is to
They don't even know what a bootleg
to
is.
grow up in an area where everybody was a bootlegger.
Yeah.
Make their own bootleg.
Now they just go
That's
to
for
the
sure.
pharmacy and make their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, very hot
Awful
place.
concoction.
We had a lot of
What,
fun.
Bill?
Right.
Bill,
What I remember, and Howard says that's not true. When I was a little
Now,
girl,
which one are we gonna talk about?
we went to the Pike all the time in Long Beach. And my favorite thing at the Pike, besides the merry-go-round,
What's a pike, honey, Mom?
a pike is a
Uh-oh.
pike. It's
What do you think of
pike's
hike?
What do you mean a pike?
the amusement.
How do I know what a pike
Amusement
is?
center.
The amusement center, thank you.
The roller coaster.
And how do you amuse yourself?
Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Well, the parents used to take us there all the time, and then Jack Kettler used to take Kathy and I there about every other weekend. And we used to ride the roller coaster, and we took a fat lady and the man made out of stone.
I wanna hear about the fleas.
But my favorite thing was the flea circus.
That's right.
And Howard,
Wow.
Well, I don't know.
Howard says I'm lying, that there was
Well,
no,
let brother answer that.
brother, tell
guy had a-
Howard there was a flea
Had this
circus.
big table, and he had all these fleas on.
This is
That was the only one. There
No,
was a lot of them.
wait,
Yeah, the tame
Uncle
fleas.
Dan,
He
you gotta,
tamed
you
Oh, I
gotta,
wanna hear about the flea that had the bandana.
They did.
no, I
They were
never told
dressed.
that. You listen to
Played
this.
football.
And they kicked the
They played
football.
football.
They had a bandana on.
Howard, no wonder you questioned them.
No, they
Hey,
all
let's hear
dressed.
it.
They were dressed.
All right,
Here's the
Fleas
story.
had bandanas on and they dressed.
No, they had clothes on.
True,
Yeah,
they did, they
I
had a
know
bride
you
and
don't
Now,
a
Harry, you understand why I'm somewhat
No, but,
skeptical.
we don't give it.
unfortunately, Howard, I'm on both of these
My
plans.
brothers,
And I'm